Hey friends, MoBeast here and welcome to another episode on the MoBeast Cave. Tonight we'll be doing a business masterclass and we'll be focusing mainly on property investing. But before we go too far, I think on this episode, we should handle the biggest issue in property investing that most people have, which is the language, the vocabulary. Whenever you go to a property investing seminar, you get there, you're sitting, half the time you don't understand what on earth is going on or what they're talking about. Well, today I'm here to teach you the property language. So come join me. I think we should cue my music first. Let's go. So guys, the terms that I want us to deal with today are real estate, equity, bond, down payment, flip deals, and exit strategies. Okay, so let's get right into it. What is real estate? Real estate is, man, and I absolutely love this, okay? I love buying real estate because real estate is something tangible. So it's something that I can physically see and I can touch. So when I'm buying real estate, not only am I buying property, not only am I buying the buildings, but I'm buying the land and everything that is on that land, which includes the house on the land, the resources, which could be your rivers that are on the land, any form of minerals that are on the land, crops, plants, any immovable objects such as windmills, or anything that is on that land forms part of your real estate. So when you're buying real estate, you're buying something you can physically see and touch. And the best part about real estate is that they're not making any more land, but the population is increasing. Now, with an increase in population comes an increase in demand for land. Now, if land is in demand, that means your land value goes up significantly. Now, when you're driving down the road and you see a block of flats, is that real estate? Yes. If you're driving past some farms and you see empty land, is that real estate? Yes. So real estate is literally the land and anything that is on it. And item number 2 on our whiteboard is equity. What is equity? So the best way to explain what equity is I'm gonna have to give you guys an example, okay? Say there's a house that I want to buy, right? And this house is valued at 100,000 rand. Okay, that's the value of the house. So this house is valued at 100,000 rand. So 100,000 rand is the amount that I would need to say if I had 100,000 rand cash sitting somewhere, I can just withdraw it and go give it to the guy who owns the house and he would just give it to me. We don't need to go through any other forms or anything else. He just takes the money and the property is officially mine. But I have a feeling most of you guys that are watching this video do not have 100,000 rand that's just randomly sitting, waiting to buy a house. So what you will do is you will need to go to a bank and you will need to go take what we call a bond. Okay, so let's say for whatever reason, the guy who's selling the house is distressed. They need to get the house off of their hands quickly. They need to sell the house, and you manage to negotiate and you actually purchase this for 80,000 rand. You actually reach an agreement to purchase this offer, to purchase this house for 80,000 rand, and you approach the bank and the bank says, okay, we will give you 80,000 rand to buy that house. What they'll be giving you as a bond. So usually a lot of people will say they own the house, but they don't really own the house. It belongs to the bank. But what happens is when the bank gives you 80,000 rand to buy that house, the house will be under their control, or it'll be under their name. So let's say what the bank that you're using right now, they'll own the house, but you'll be staying in it and you'll have full control over it. And usually the banks work with a 20-year to, some of them will give you 30 years to pay back the 80,000 rand. Now, when the bank gives you that, they'll say to you, listen, buddy, we'll give you 80,000 Rand to buy the house, but we won't just give you 80,000 Rand like that. We need to see that you have some sort of skin, okay? Have some sort of skin, and for us to see that you are willing and you are sort of capable to pay back the money, we want you to give us a down payment, okay? It's a down payment. So a down payment is money you will put up front in order for the bank to give you your bond and for it to be approved. So let's say the bank says to you they want a down payment of about 5% or about 5%. So this down payment is 5%. It's 5% of the purchase price, which here we're looking at around about 4,000 Rand. Okay, so you made the offer to purchase for 80,000 Rand. You didn't have 80,000 Rand. You approached the bank and you said, listen, I need to buy a house. And the bank said, listen, but it's okay. We'll give you 80,000 Rand. But before we give you that 80,000 Rand, we need to see that you have some sort of skin in the game. And we need a down payment from you. And you can give us a down payment of about 5%, which is 4,000 Rand. Now, luckily, you have 4,000 Rand sitting somewhere. Hope everyone has a savings account. So you go take that 4,000 Rand and you put it down as a down payment, which means now you owe the bank 76K. Okay. Now you own the bank 76K, and the bank says, okay, that's all right. You won't have 76K to give it to us right now, but what we will need is for you to pay us monthly. And like I said, usually the banks will work with 20 years or they'll work with 30 years. And let's say over the 20, 30 years, the bank says to you, your bond payment every month will have to be 1K, right? So you put in 1K every single month for 20 years. Eventually, there's 80,000 Rand that we get, well, 76,000 Rand that we gave to you to buy this house. Once that is all complete and covered, this house will totally belong to you, and we are out of there. We have no business in there anymore. All right. Now, let's say we fast forward about 5 years later, okay? And you've been paying 8,000 Rand every month for 5 years to make sure that you've covered your bond. So the amount you owe has now changed from 76,000 Rand to, let's work with 60,000 Rand. So now you owe 60,000 Rand. So by the way, for those who don't know, when I say K, that means 1,000. So 1K is 1,000. If I say 60K, it's 60,000. So now you're owing 60,000 Rand. Your equity on this property becomes, I'm going to show you guys a quick calculation on equity. Now your equity on this property becomes the value of the property minus the amount you owe on the property, which in this case will be the value of the property was 100K, which is 100,000, minus the amount you owe, which is 60K. So that gives you a total equity of 40,000 Rand. But guess what happens? So your equity is 40,000 Rand on this property, right? Let's say you hold it for a further 2 years and you keep paying your bond payments of 1,000 Rand. Now this is the magic that happens, right? So let's say now you owe, let's say now you owe 50,000 Rand on this property. So now you owe 50,000 Rand on this property. And like we explained earlier when we were explaining real estate, that with the demand of land, the value of your land will go up, which means the value of your real estate, the value of your property will go up. So fast forward 2 years later, now the value of your property is not 100,000 anymore, but instead your property is now worth 120,000 Rand. Right? Which means your equity changes over time. So let us calculate the change in that equity as soon as we can get this rubbed out. Okay, that's fine. So now the value of your property is 120K, and you don't owe 60 anymore. Instead, you owe 50K. Now you take out your calculator, 120 minus 50. The difference is 70,000 Rand. Meaning now you have 70,000 Rands worth of equity into this property, which is pretty cool. But the problem is a lot of people struggle to wrap their heads around the idea of equity, because it's not like now you have 70,000 Rand equity and you can rock up at your nearest McDonald's and say, hey, give me your biggest burger, supersize the meal, and I'll pay you with a bit of equity. But what equity helps with, it's basically a number on the balance sheet when you're talking about your net worth, your overall net worth from your assets. So when we look at your overall net worth in assets, this 70,000 Rand will be included in your net worth. So the next time you need to go out and you need to go secure deals, you need to go to the bank to get more money, to make more deals, and the bank is looking at your net worth to determine how much they can give you, that's where your equity will come in. It will basically help the bank realize that you're able to generate money, you are able to generate assets, and you are worthy of an investment for them. That's what equity is going to help you with. So last but definitely not least on our list, that's a cool one, it's a bit of a tongue twister. So last but not least on our list, am I saying it right? Last but not least? Anyways, last but not least on our list is exit strategy. I think the word is self-explanatory. So an exit strategy is when you get yourself into a deal, then sometime somewhere in the deal you realize that this deal might not actually be something that is suitable for you. You realize you might lose a lot of money on this deal, and you need to come up with a plan. You need to exit the deal without making any losses or minimizing losses. So for example, this house that you bought here for 80,000 Rand, you bought this house for 80,000 Rand. The plan was for you to move in with your kids, your family, and to stay in there. Then a few months later, you realize there's a university nearby and it's crazy in there. Those students are just loud. They're partying every day. They're leaving their alcohol bottles on your yard, on the grass and the lawn. And you decide after 2-3 months, no ways, I cannot stay here. I need to make another plan. My children who are in high school cannot study for the exam on the weekends because it's havoc in this area during the weekends. So what do? You decide to come up with a different plan. So instead of staying in this house, you come up with another strategy. You think to yourself, well, since it's a university and the students around, why not convert this house into a student accommodation? So maybe this house is a 3-bedroom. What you do is you start buying small beds, single beds, you place them in the house, you convert your living room to another 2 bedrooms if it's big enough. Now you've got 5 bedrooms in there, and that house that you were planning on staying on and wasn't suitable for you to stay on, you've now converted into a student accommodation, and it's bringing in some cash flow. So what you just did there is you made a deal, you realize it's not a good deal, it's not suitable for your living conditions, and you came up with a different strategy. You exited the deal while being able to make more money. Now you can even go further and say, after the house, well, after turning it into a student accommodation, a few months later, it's now proven, it's well known, everyone knows there's a student accommodation over there. Now the value of this house, chances are, will increase. Remember what we say is they're not making any more land, but the population is increasing. So what happens is every year there's more and more students that are coming into an area. So what might happen there could be a backlog and a high demand for student accommodations. All of a sudden, this property of yours, which you've now converted to a student accommodation, has gained so much value, and the price of it has actually gone up. Could easily be now close to double the price that it was actually worth before you changed it. Then what you do, you sell it to the next person for profit. So what you just did there is you converted your home that you stay in into a rental, into a multi-rental, then you flip the deal. All right, guys, just a quick recap of the words that we went through today. We started off with real estate, which refers to the land, the house, the plantation, the natural resources, and everything that is incorporated onto that land. That all of it, as I said, is real estate. Equity, we said, is the difference between the value of the house and the amount that you owe on the property. A bond is what the bank gives to you in order for you to go purchase the house if you do not have enough money to go buy the house. and sometimes also can be known as a bond payment, which is broken down into monthly. A down payment is what you put up front before the bank gives you a bond to show the bank that you do have some sort of skin in the game. Flip deals is you basically taking a property, holding the property, waiting for it to increase in value, and then selling the property again. Sometimes you might have to do a bit of refurbishment and some changes to the property to help it increase in value, but then you sell it for a profit. Then an exit strategy is when you go into a property, you make a deal, then you realize that the deal is not suitable for you, then you find another strategy, another plan in order to get out of that deal without losing money or minimizing losses, sometimes even coming out with profit. Now friends, we've unfortunately reached the end of our masterclass. I hope you guys now understand the language that's associated with property. You guys understand the vocabulary. If there are any words that you feel you still need to know that I've maybe neglected and not included in this video, feel free to drop them in the comment section below. I will get to them. Maybe we'll even have a vocabulary part 2, depending on how many words people feel I have forgotten or I have left out and neglected. Guys, I hope you'll join me again. Remember to like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends. Let's share knowledge, guys. From me, MoBeast, signing out from the MoBeast Cave. Hopefully I'll see you guys on our next masterclass. Cheers.